Takalosh Boker Or Daf Yomi Masechet Sanhedrin Daf Numchet Amud Aleph 5881 says the Gemara. You remember we were speaking about that according to Shitat Rabbi Meir, Kol Erva Shebedin Shel Yisrael Memetin Elea. We went and we said that any type of an erva that the bedin are going to come and they're going to kill the Noach Muzhar Alea. You're going to tell me the Ben Noach they're going to be warned about it. But Tanya, we learned Ger. What happens if you have a Ger? Shaita horato veleidato horato shelo bigdusha veleidato bigdusha. Meaning, the ger was conceived shelo bigdusha. Meaning, when the parents were still goy, or there was somebody, the mother was still goy. Goya. Veleidato bigdusha. But then, when they gave birth, it was bigdusha. Yesh lo she'er ha'em ve'en lo she'er ha'av. He only has family members mitzad the mother, but not family members mitzad the father, because he's considered a ger. Haketzat. So what does that mean? Nasa achoto mina em. If he's going to come and he's going to marry achoto, right, the sister mitzad the mother, right? So therefore, yotzi, he has to get divorced. Mina av yekayem. But if it's going to be mina av, so he's going to be mekayem. What does it mean mekayem? Right? He's going to be mekayem, that he's able to come. Right, he's able to come and to have to stay married to the person, right? The same halacha would apply. Achota av mina em, right? Which means the aunt mitzad. Hold on 1 second. Mitzad achota av mina em yotzi. Here they made a mistake in the Hebrew. Here they wrote down nasa achota av mina em dodato mitzad aviv. Supposed to be mitzad imo. I don't know. They made a mistake. They made a mistake in English also as well. What? We just said that if right now he's going to marry to a sister from the mother, he has to get divorced from her. If it's going to be the sister from the father, he's allowed to stay married to him. What's the next case? If it's achota av mina em, what does it translate? Achot. How do you do that again? Ma'achot ha'av.
The sister of the father from
One more time. You told me something completely different. Also, that's what's in here. One more time. What's written in there? Maternal sister.
Oh, yeah.
Of
the sister of the father from the mother. They have the same mother.
So that means that basically, even though it's the aunt mitzad the father, meaning it's the father's sister, which means it's the aunt, but the fact that they share the same grandmother, and that's going back to an im, meaning it's going back to a woman. So therefore, so there is she'er, there's a family member mitzad ha'em, right? Which no. The father was always Jewish. The father was Jewish. He went with a goya. She conceived when she was still a goya, and then she gave birth when she was already converted. So that's pshat. Horato shelo bigdusha. Horato means she became herayon. She became pregnant. Shelo bigdusha, without kiddusha, because she was still a goya. But then leidato, the birth was bigdusha, was with kiddusha, because she already converted. So in such a case, she only has family members mitzad the of mother and not mitzad the father. So the very simple case is a sister. So if he has a half sister and it's only mitzad the mother, prohibited. And if he got married to her, he has to get divorced. No, I said mitzad the mother, right? But now if it's going to be a half sister mitzad the father, he could stay married to her. But now when I go to the aunt, so now even if it's going to be the aunt mitzad the father, meaning it's the father's sister, the fact that they share the same mother, meaning the father and the sister share the same mother, again, we're saying that there's a family member mitzad the mother, not his mother, mitzad mothers, meaning mitzad em. So therefore, it's going to be prohibited. Yotzi, mina av. However, though, if he only got married to his aunt mitzad the father, that they only share the same father, not the same mother, meaning it's his aunt, but it was a half sister right? Meaning it's his father's half sister. It's an aunt, but it's the father's half sister. But they only have the same father. Yekayem, he's allowed to stay married to her. Achot ha'em mina em yotzi. Achot ha'em mina av is a machloket. Meaning like this: the second that we got to a mother, meaning any type of motherhood, so that's when it's going to be prohibited for this ger. Okay. Now, what was the machloket to do with achot ha'em mina av? Meaning, it's his mother's sister. So again, it's talking about an aunt, but they only share the same father. Again, when we thought originally that we said that there's only family mitzvah the mother and not the father, we thought anything to do with the father is permitted. It's not true, because if there's again a mother, and that's how we said about the aunt, that there's a mother which is shared between the aunt and the father, prohibited. Because basically it's she'er em. She'er em is kovea. The familyhood mitzad the mother. So now let's go the other way around. You have the mother's sister. So if it's the mother, which is his aunt again, but now maternal aunt. So if it's mitzad the mother, that's pashuta, it's asur. But what happens if it's only mitzad the father? So here's some machloket. Here it says Rabbi Meir comes and he says, right? It says over here, Rabbi Meir says yotzi. You have to get divorced. Why? Because at the end of the day, it's mitzad the mother. Chachamim say no, stay with her. But why? Said I'm sorry. At the end of the day, right? It's not the same. So he says, Shayar Rabbi Meir Omer, Kol erva shehi mishum she'er em. Rabbi Meir says any type of an erva that comes because of a family kinship of the mother. So therefore, even though they only share the same father, here, since they came from the maternal side, it's always prohibited. That is shitat Rabbi Meir. And therefore, you have to be yotzi, right? So he says, but if it's going to be, right, mishum she'ra'av, yekayem. If it's going to be only mitzad, that they share the same father, that means even though it's on the maternal side, right? Because here it's on the maternal side. But the fact that they only share the same father, he's allowed to stay married to them. That is shitat, right? That's what he's saying. Mitzad Rabbi, that is mitzad chachamim. Okay, but Rabbi Meir said no. Umutar be'eshet achiv ube'eshet achi aviv. Yeah, ushar kol arayot mutarot lo. Now the ger is permitted to get married to his sister-in-law, which is basically eshet achiv. Right? He's allowed to get married to his sister-in-law. Right? Here it says it's only obviously after that he dies. Which one? No. He's allowed to get married to her. Eshet aviv, eshet achiv. Yeah. That means even if he divorced her or the guy dies, he's allowed to get married to her. And right, there's no yibum, there's nothing. He's allowed. Yes. Eshet achiv uve eshet achi aviv. Right? The same halacha would apply to eshet achi aviv, meaning the aunt. Exactly. But the political aunt. Right? Meaning the aunt that's not the blood aunt. Okay? Ushar kol ha'arayot, right? And all the other arayot are going to be mutarot lo, are going to be also permitted to him. What does that mean? All the arayot, right? He says is going to be permitted. La tuye, what is that coming to include? He says la tuye eshet aviv. That's going to come, and right, it's going to come to include eshet aviv. What is eshet aviv? His father's wife. Right? What does that mean? That means the last one, right? When it's going to come and it's going to say Ushar kal arayot mutarot lo, he's allowed to get married to his father's wife. Zoya krava, right? That's the kiva. What? Nasa isha ubita. Yeah, if right now a ben Noach comes and he gets married to a woman and her daughter. Now we know by us, are you allowed to do that? Are you allowed to get married to a woman and the daughter? No. But then afterwards, he's mitgayer. So what happens? He could only stay married to one. Meaning that he could only marry one. He has to actually get married. It doesn't mean that he stays married. He has to get married. Remember, after conversion, there has to be a remarriage. Meaning even if you have a get and a gioret, right, that they both convert, right? They were both goyim and they both convert, they have to get married, right? So that's why it says over here, kones achat. He has to bring in one. He has to do niswin to one, umotzi achat. And he's not going to get married to the other one. So he says, lechatchila, right? And to do with all the women that we mentioned, that it's going to be mutar lekayem otan, lechatchila lo yichnos, right? What does that mean? So he says that means even though that at the beginning we just said that there were certain family members mitzad the mother that you're allowed to come to be mekayem otam, don't do it lechatchila, right? Because people would come and think that a regular Jew is allowed to do that, and we know that a regular Jew is not allowed to do that. It's only just because he was a ger that he was allowed to get married to certain family members mitzad the mother, right? So, for example, we went and we said that what happens if it's the aunt mitzad the mother, but they only share the same father. So we said there was a machloket Rabbi Meir and Chachamim. According to Chachamim, he's allowed to get married to her. So even though it says he's allowed to get married to her, it's not that he's allowed to get married to her. Did you realize that it said yekayem? Yekayem just means he can leave her. No. Yekayem just means you, meaning b'diavad, meaning if you already did it, you could leave her there. Yotzi means that even b'diavad, you have to divorce her, you have to take her out. Yotzi is latzet, to take her out. Yichnos means lechatchila, to get married. When it says yekayem, means you could establish it, you could keep it the same status quo. It doesn't mean that lechatchila is allowed to get married to her. Right now, the reason why is because we don't want people to get, because if not, imagine right now, a regular Jew is going to come and say, we're allowed to do that. You say, how are you allowed to do that? Well, what? Joe Schmo just did it. Yeah, well, Joe Schmo's a get. Meaning, not only was a get, he converted after the mother was, meaning he converted during the mother converted during the pregnancy. And that's why he was permitted to do such a thing. But not everybody is permitted to do such a thing. In which case? Sorry, I missed you. Some people say also, asur b'chamoto, right? He's going to be asur with the mother-in-law. Okay? So here, right, the Gemara on Yevamot on Tzadichet Amubet is going to explain this machloket exactly. Why is it only adika d'amri? So basically, though, it comes out that according to Shitat Rabbi Meir, this goes against the Braita that we mentioned above. Why? Because the Braita above comes and it says that Ben Noach is muzhar al kol harayot shebetinis shel Yisrael memetim alea. This Braita says, Rabbi Meir says that it's going to be mutar for a ger to get married to, for example, Eshet Aviv, right? Because there's no Yisur of Eshet Av b'dinei Noach, right? And therefore, since b'dinei Yisrael, right, he would be chayav mita, it should have also been asur. And here it says it's mutar. So what's going on? So Amar Rav Yehuda says, Ha Rabbi Meir liba de Rabbi Eliezer, ha Rabbi Meir liba de Rabbi Akiva. Meaning there's two different shitot in Rabbi Meir. One shita is Rabbi Meir according to shitat Rabbi Eliezer, and the other one is the Rabbi Meir according to shitat Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Meir was actually the Talmid of Rabbi Eliezer and also of Rabbi Akiva. And therefore, right, as it's brought down in different places. Remember, Rabbi Meir Balanes was one of the students of Rabbi Akiva. Right, Rabbi Meir Balanes, Shimon Bar Yochai, but he was also a Talmid of Rabbi Eliezer. So therefore, what he's trying to say is that the first Braita that says Yisurei Ervav to Bnei Noach is going to be Chiyuv Mita B'dinei Yisrael, said that Rabbi Meir and Shitat Rabbi Akiva. However, the second Braita, which says that there's no connection between them, Rabbi Meir was saying that in Shitat Rabbi Eliezer. Okay, and now we're going to explain the machloket. Now listen carefully. What is the machloket? The Tanya, we learned in a Braita. Yeah. A person has to abandon his father and his mother, and he clings to his wife. Yeah, you have to cling to your wife, right? Huh? Yeah. So what does that mean? He says, Rabbi Eliezer says, Aviv, achot aviv, imo, achot imo. What does that mean? He says, when it says, Al ken yazov ish et aviv, it's coming to teach you that asur ben Noach to go on achot aviv. Because if you go with achot aviv, right, you're clinging to your father. One more time. Bonachzor. Al ken ya'azov. You have to abandon. Who do you have to abandon? Your father and your mother. And who do you go to? Your wife. If you go with your father's sister, you're not abandoning your father. Right? So therefore, when it says aviv, it comes lapuke achot aviv, because then you're not abandoning your father. You're going with your father. That's fine. A niece is not the achot aviv. Yeah. Even by a niece is mutar, even by a regular Jew. Yeah. Here we're talking about Ben Noach, by the way. Here we're talking about even a goy. A goy is not allowed to go with his aunt. Aunt from the father, right? Imo, achot imo. Same halacha. It says achot imo. Who shita that? Rabbi Eliezer. So look what he says. לפי הדרשה, פסוק מלמד שצריך אדם לעזוב את אחות אביו ואת אחות אמו, תהיינו שאסור לבוא עליהן, מכיוון שבן נוח אסור באחות אביו, כל שכן אסור באחותו. הקרובה לו יותר. Right? So he comes and he says, now why did they do that? He says, right? Right, because when it says la'azov, that's not being ozev. That is shitat Rabbi Eliezer, until you were clear. זה לגוי גם. הגוי אסור בדודתו. לא משנה מהאבא או האמא. Right, you're not allowed to get married to the aunt. Doesn't matter from the father or the mother. Okay? That's to do, and kol sheken then, your sister. Why kol sheken your sister? Because your sister is even closer than your aunt. So therefore, obviously, kol sheken the sister. Right? That's what it says here in the footnote. Right? Kol sheken asu ba'achoto akrovai lo yoter. That's Rashi brings it down. Okay? Rabbi Akiva omer. Yeah? Rabbi Akiva comes and he says, okay, one more time. Niece is permitted even to you, to a Jew. It's not even permitted. It's a mitzvah. It's a mitzvah. So if you want to know the real reason why, there's a beautiful Ben Ish Chai. The Ben Ish Chai is in the Sefer, if I'm not mistaken, the Imre Bina. The Ben Ish Chai comes and he says, why is it that it's a sur to get married to your aunt? Now remember that Moshe Rabbeinu came from that relationship because Amram got married to Yocheved, which was his aunt. So it's a sur to get married to your aunt, but it's a mitzvah to get married to your niece. How do you understand that? So Ben Ish Chai says very, very simple. He says, are you obligated to respect your aunt? Yes. You are obligated in her kavod. When you get married to her, it flips. Now she's obligated to give you kavod. And that's no, your aunt. When you get married to your wife is obligated to respect you. So because of that, it's a clash. Mitzad echad, you were obligated to respect your aunt. And now that you got married to her, now she's obligated to respect you. So it's a clash. It does not work. To do with a niece, she was always obligated to respect you. So now that she gets married to you, you're strengthening that respect. It's not a clash of the respect. Exactly. You're strengthening the respect. So since you're strengthening the respect, there it's even a mitzvah. And it's not a sur. When you clash the two different respects, it's going to be, 1 second, you're obligated to respect me. No, you're obligated to respect me. Well, I'm your aunt. Well, I'm your husband. It does not work. It clashes. You understand?
Is that so? Because the guy is not marrying his aunt, meaning he is her nephew.
Yes.
Right. So this is a soul.
Yes.
Is it just because of this question of
Yeah. Yeah.
This is just because of this question.
Yes.
Outside of that, there's no other issue.
No, but that's a isur. The Torah says it's a isur. Now the question is, you wanted to know svara, a logic. So I give you logic. The Ben Ish Chai is explaining a logic. It's 100% a logic. It's 100% a logic. If you understand what is a marriage, if you understand what a marriage, what happens is she has to come and she has to respect her husband. So now there's a clash because beforehand he had to respect her. Now she has to respect him. It's a clash. Listen to this. V'davak, you have to clean. V'davak v'lo b'zachar. It can't be with a male, right? Why? Right? Because when you do v'davak, right, you could only be v'davak with a male and a female that you glue together. So that's v'davak. You cannot do that, right, with two males. Beishto v'lo b'shet chavero. Again, this is all for Ben Noach, by the way. Again, we keep on making the drashot. It's for Ben Noach. So from here, you're going to tell me, well, how do you know Ben Noach is not allowed to commit adultery? So he says, Beishto v'lo b'shet chavero. No, the davak is lo mishkav zachor. Right, but b'shet chavero. Eshet chavero, beishto. The davak, beishto. Beishto means his wife. His wife, not his friend's wife. Yeah? Vayul basar echad, they're going to become one basar. Mi shenasim basar echad. Well, for sure. מי שנעשים בשר אחד, יצאו בהמה וחיה. comes to school, בהמה וחיה. שנעשים בשר אחד, they don't become בשר אחד with human being. So therefore, that's why it's only dafka human beings. It's not with animals. So from here you learned all the different arayot from goyim. Right? That means a ben noach. You're going to ask me, how do you know he's not allowed to do homosexuality? V'davak. How do you know he's not allowed to have bestiality? Vayulu basar echad. How do you know that he's not allowed to commit adultery? Ishto v'lo eshet chavero. Look at the beauty of how to understand, right? How do you know the sister? How do you know the aunt? Right? Al ken yazov aviv vetimo. Okay, fine. Says the Gemara, Amar Mor, Rabbi Eliezer, Omer Rabbi Eliezer comes and he says, when it says aviv, it comes and tells you achot aviv, right? The sister of the father. Maybe it's aviv mamash. Maybe he's not allowed to live with his father. Yeah, maybe that's aviv. So he says, Hainu v'davak v'lo b'zachar, says the Gemara, very simple. If you just told me v'davak means that he has to cling and has to be a female, not a male, so obviously when it says aviv, it's not aviv, because you already learned from v'davak that it cannot be a male. So it's not aviv, it has to be the sister. Eima eshet aviv, so says the Gemara, maybe it's the wife's father, the father's wife, right? The father's wife. Maybe that's what it means. So Hainu b'ishto v'lo b'eshet chavero. He says 1 second, but that's already his own wife, not the wife of his. Meaning, if the father's married, right? So therefore, anyway, it's already excluded from ishto v'lo b'eshet chavero. So you don't need to say that aviv means eshet aviv. So Elmaleh achar mita, says the Gemara, maybe it's after death. Meaning, we know that a person can never get married to his father's wife even after death. But by a goy, maybe this is teaching you that you're not allowed to, and therefore the aunt is permitted. And so the Gemara, dumya d'imo. It's exactly like your mother. Ma imo de lav ishut. Just like when it says imo, it doesn't mean ishut, right? But rather it's because of closeness of a family member. Afaviv de lav ishut. So too it's going to be a lav ishut, which means there has to be a closeness of a family member. So it cannot be the wife of the father, because the wife of the father really be'emet is not your family member. Your father's wife is not your family member. She's your stepmother. But there's no closeness of kin. There's no blood relationship. There's nothing there. So for just like by the mother, it had to have a closeness of kin, had to have a blood relation. So to the father, it has to have a blood relation. So who's that? The sister. The father's sister, the aunt. That's how it has to be. So says the Gemara, Imo, right? What does Imo teach you? Achot Imo. Yeah, that's what we said. Imo means your aunt. Who's your aunt? Achot Imo. So he says, maybe it's your mother, mamash. So he says, Hainu b'ishto v'lo b'eshet chavero. If it's your mother, she's married to your father. So again, it has to be that b'ishto. So he says, okay, maybe la chamita, maybe the husband died. So now if the husband died, she's not a married woman anymore. She's not married. How do you know you're allowed to go with your mother? So he says, dumya da aviv. It's like the father. Just like aviv, it's not mamash aviv. Because that we learned that already from the zachar, that it comes to exclude aviv, because the v'davak means lo b'zachar. So the father was already a zachar. So he says, so to imo is not mamash imo, and it means obviously the achotim. Okay? Until here clear. So basically, one more time. Yeah, I'm going to ask everybody, right? We can actually make a chart. Doctor, if you want, you can already start making the chart, right? It's a very, very simple concept, right? Ben Noach. We're talking about Ben Noach, because all these halachot is talking about Ben Noach. How do you know he's not allowed to go with a male? How do you know you're not allowed to go with an animal? Basar echad, right? How do you know you're not allowed to go with your friend's wife, meaning commit adultery? Ishto v'lo b'eshet chavero. How do you know you're not allowed to go with your aunt from the father? Aviv. Very good. Aviv. How do you know you're not allowed to go with the aunt from the mother? Imo. Chazak Baruch. Imo. How do you know you're not allowed to go with the father? No. Vedavak. Very good. Meaning that we knew. Meaning we knew that already it couldn't be the father from Vedavak. How do you know he's not allowed to go from the mother? He's not allowed to live with his mother. Because we said that, just like we said that Vedavak, right? Just like we said that Aviv does not mean Aviv Mamash. So to Imo meant for sure not the mother, because Imo for sure is going to be prohibited just like the father. So it had to be the Achot Imo. How do you know that it's no, I think that's it. No, I got everyone. Yeah, I think I got everyone. No, we have Achot Mina Av, Achot Mina Em, Aviv Ve'imo, and then we had Eshet Chavero, Bema, Zachar. Yeah, okay. Baruch Hashem. We had everything. Okay, doctor, you had that chart? Okay, fine. Very good. With everything. Okay, very, very good. Perfect. Very, very good. Let's go. Next. Okay. Rabbi Akiva, Omer. Rabbi Akiva comes and he says, yeah, Aviv Eshet Aviv. Rabbi Akiva argued on Rabbi Eliezer, and he says when it says Aviv, it's Eshet Aviv. Right? By the way, when it said Eshet Aviv, maybe I didn't realize, I didn't even say this. Eshet Aviv was a sul because it's Eshet Chavero. So that means your father's wife, anyway, is prohibited because of Eshet Chavero, right? Because she's married. After Mitah, it should be permitted, according to this. But after Mitah, meaning after Mitah to Abba, it should be permitted. For Ben Noach. Yeah, Ben Noach. Okay? So he says, Rabbi Akiva comes and he says, no, Aviv is Eshet Aviv. So ask the Gemara, Ve'im Aviv Mamash. Maybe it's Aviv, the father Mamash. And so the Gemara, Ve'davak, Ve'lo Bezachar. So says the Gemara, If so, Eshet Aviv Nami. Hainu B'ishto, Ve'lo Be'eshet Chavero. Answers the Gemara, Le'achar Mitah. Meaning, according to Rabbi Akiva, is a Ben Noach allowed to go with his aunt from the father? Yes. Because there's no pasuk saying no.
Aunt father or the wife of the father?
Aunt of the father, mutar. Wife of the father, asur. One more time.
After Mitah, mutar.
Which one?
After Mitah, mutar. Wife of the father? So you just said before.
No. I was in Rabbi Eliezer. Now we're in Rabbi Akiva.
Aunt of the father?
One more time. In Rabbi Akiva. Sorry, one second. One more time. Let's backtrack. In Rabbi Eliezer, we asked, what about Eshet Aviv? So he said she's a married woman. He said, no, lachar mitah. We said we don't. Why? He says, Ainu beishto v'lo b'eshet chavero. So ema lachar mitah. Why don't we just say that the pasuk is prohibiting lachar mitah? So the Gemara answered, dumya diimo. It has to be like the mother. Just like the mother, there's a kinship, there's a family relationship. So to by the father, it's a family relationship, which means that lachar mitah, it's going to be permitted. Right? It's going to be permitted. Because there's no kinship. There was never a kinship. There was never some close blood. There was nothing ever there. It was just she was a married woman. Okay? According to Rabbi Akiva, according to Rabbi Akiva, right? According to Rabbi Akiva, so say that on any Eshetish. Say that on any Eshetish. Right? The guy's going to come, kill the guy, and by Avraham Avinu, he wasn't afraid of it. They're going to kill him and get married to his wife. Yeah, exactly. That's a Kohen Gadol. You're always going to suspect that, but you don't do that. Yeah. So one more time, right? You understood what he said by Kohen Gadol. A Kohen Gadol is not allowed to get married to an almanah. Why? Maybe when he's in the Kodesh Kodashim, he's going to curse the husband of one of these guys, right? Of one of these women that he wanted to get married, and then he would get married to the almanah. So because of that, he's never allowed to get married to an almanah. Therefore, there's never a chashash and he's going to come and kill the guy in order to do that. Okay, fine. So now what happens? Rabbi Akiva comes and he switches it. When it says Aviv, it does not mean Achot Aviv. It means Eshet Aviv. Ask the Gemara, maybe it's Aviv Mamash, but Davak. It's not Aviv Mamash. So Eshet Aviv is the Eshet Ish. No, Lachar Mitah Av.
He's not okay with Lachar Mitah.
No, exactly. So Lachar Mitah, it's still going to be prohibited. That means according to Rabbi Akiva, after death, it's still prohibited to go with the stepmother. But aunts are permitted according to this. Yeah, imo. What does it mean now, imo? So imo is imo mamash, the mother mamash. So ask the Gemara, haynu biishto v'lo b'eshet chavero. One second, but she's married. So answers the Gemara, imo me'anusato. What does that mean? We're talking about that it's the mother from an anusa, which means it's imo, which is anusat aviv, meaning the father violated somebody, right? And the father actually never got married to her. He just violated her. And then he had this child. So this child is prohibited to his mother. Why? Imo. She was never married. So there's never Eshet Chavero. So therefore, how do you know he's permitted to his mother? Because of Imo. So it means Aviv is Eshet Aviv. It cannot be Aviv Mamash with Vedavak. It has to be Eshet Aviv. And Imo is Imo Manusato, meaning that his real mother, but it was the Anusat Aviv. Okay? So what is the machlok be'emet between Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Eliezer? Rabbi Eliezer Savan Munchet Amubet 58b. Right? By the way, it's a beautiful Gemara. I'm saying we're learning different things, but it's a beautiful. You have to keep your cup on the place. Yeah. Stay on board. Yeah. So he says one more time. He says, Rabbi Eliezer Savar, Aviv dumya dimo, vimo dumya daviv. Rabbi Eliezer holds that the father is like the mother and the mother is like the father, which means whatever we learn from the father to the mother, mother to the father. So lo mashkach halayla b'achva, it has to be some type of a kinship. Rabbi Akiva mutav lauk me'eshet aviv, dikre ervat aviv. Rabbi Akiva preferred to learn it from eshet aviv because that's called ervat aviv. Lapuke achot aviv, the she'er aviv ikre, ervat aviv lo ikre. Meaning like this, according to Rabbi Akiva, there are two different things. There's something which is called ervat aviv, and something which is called she'er aviv. She'er is your family member. So your aunt is she'er aviv. Your father's wife is ervat aviv. So because of that, the Rabbi Akiva preferred to learn eshet aviv, which is ervat aviv, instead of achot aviv, which is she'er aviv. But Rabbi Eliezer, he just said each one is domet to each other, meaning aviv dumya d'imo, d'imo dumya d'aviv. Aviv is dumya d'imo, right? That we said that it had to be that just like the imo was a family member, so to aviv was a family member, right? And imo dumya d'aviv, that just like aviv was not aviv mamash, so to imo was not imo mamash, and it had to be somebody else. Okay. Next. We're going to now ask a question on Rabbi Eliezer. That's because, again, according to Rabbi Eliezer, are you allowed to have relations with your aunt? So according to Rabbi Eliezer, no. According to Rabbi Akiva, yes. So let's go. Tashema vayikach Amram et Yocheved dodato ma'elav minaem. It says 1 second. Here it says Amram took Yocheved his aunt. Now we're not talking about that Yocheved was what? Yocheved was achot aviv. Also minaem. So if it's going to be also from the mother, right? Meaning from the mother and the father, so it comes out that mamash, this is an aunt. That's prohibited. So if it's prohibited, it's going to be a problem. How did he get married to his aunt? Right? Because remember, if Yocheved was bat shel Levi, so it comes out that it's achoto shel kehat avi Amram, and therefore, right, the Gemara is saying that they had the same father and same mother. So it's mamash an aunt. An aunt is a sur. Even b'nei Noach, you're not allowed to do that. Answers the Gemara, no. Dodato mina av. It was only from the same father, not from the same mother. Therefore, even a ben Noach was permitted to get married to this aunt. Because when it says achot, right, achot aviv, it has to be achot av, which is from the father and the mother, not just from the father. So it comes out that Yocheved was permitted mitzvah. So we're going to ask another question now. Tashema, we're going to ask another question. Vegamnom na achoti batavi. Right? He achlo batimi. Avraham Avinu comes and he tells Avimelech, technically speaking, she is my sister. How is she my sister? So he says, achoti bat avihi, achlo batimi, miklal, de bata'em asura. So it's mashma that if be'emet Sarah was achoto mina he wouldn't have gone married to her. But it's only because it's achoto mina av, right? So that's why it's confusing. Abraham and Sarah. No, he wouldn't have gone married to her. No, who dod shela?
דוד של שרה.
כן.
איך אבל מן האח שלו?
האח שלו. Haran had Sarah and Lot. Lot ושרה הם אחים. So, okay, so Haran. So, according to this, right? זה אחיינית.
היא הבת של הרן.
היא הבת של הרן, בדיוק.
ואברהם אח של הרן רק מהאבא, לא מהאם.
לא, אח של הרן מהאבא.
האבא, בלי האם.
לא, גם מהאמא. רק שנייה. עכשיו, שרה was only considered the sister מצד האבא, לא מצד האמא. בוא נגיד, האמא שלה זה היה מישהי אחרת. משמע, if the אמא was אותו אמא כמו אברהם, אסור. That's what he just said now. No, נכון, you're right. What's going to happen is like this. We are making a diuk, and the truth is we actually make this diuk, because what's the pshat that he says it's achoti batavi? Because benim harem kirbine banim.
אני חושב שאולי הרן, I think, maybe הרן is no brother of Abraham only from the father.
1 minute.
Then
yeah.
Permitted.
1 minute. The Gemara is going to speak about this. 1 second. So the Gemara is going to say, 1 second. So the Gemara is going to say we know banim harem kebnei banim. So if you say banim harem kebnei banim, it comes out that really Sarah was the daughter of Terach. Terach. So therefore, it's the sister. Nachon, aval banim harem kebnei banim. Meaning bnei banim harem kebanim. The grandchildren. Sarah bat shel Abba shel Abraham. B'diuk. So it comes out that it's only because they were the same. They were the achot mina av. But if it was achot mina em, atzura. The Tisbra says the Gemara is logical. Achoto havai. It's what? You really think it's achoto? Bat achiv havai. Says the Gemara. That's what you guys are saying. What are you saying? It's achianit. It's a niece. It's bat achiv. V'kevin achihu lo shomia. So what do I care if it's from the father or the mother? It's a niece. So shadi, it's going to be permitted. Elahata machi kamal. This is what he said. Kurva da achoti libada me'abba v'lo ima. I only have a kirva of achva mitzad the abba and not mitzad the ima. What does that mean? Meaning Sarah was the daughter of Haran, which was the brother of Avraham Avinu, but from another wife. So to minute, since Haran was only a half brother of Avraham Avinu, that's why they were able to. You're able to get married. Bediuk. Meaning that Haran came from another mother. The same father from Terach, but from another mother. So Tashema, we're going to try to bring now another proof. 1 second. Why didn't Adam Rishon not get married to his daughter?
Whether she's your
no, but they were again. He didn't say to Avimelech that it's my niece. He said it's my sister. Now what happened was it was a sister, but it was also his wife. One more time, what happened? He went to Mitzrayim and he went to Avimelech. He went to Paro and he kept on saying, "This is my sister." Was it his sister? No, it was his wife. Now, how do you say it's a sister? He says no. Sister means that even if it would have been my sister, I could get married to her, and therefore she's my sister. But now why? Sister's prohibited. He says no. Sister is prohibited if they share the same father and mother. Here, they only share the same father. Why? Because Haran came from a different mother. So since Haran, his brother, came from a different mother, those children, the achva that they have, the brotherhood that they have, is a different brotherhood. Bediuk. She's like the daughter of Terach. But since it's coming from another wife, so therefore he's allowed to get married to her. Because they don't share the same mother. So now the Gemara asks, why didn't Adam Rishon get married to his daughter? So okay, everyone starts asking. He already had Chava. Adam Rishon. Who did Cain get married to? Who did Hevel get married to? The twins. Well, Hevel had twins, meaning born with him. Cain had one girl born with him. Yeah, but Hevel had two, right? So he says here, why didn't he get married to his daughter? No, so that's what the Rishonim already asked. The Rishonim say, I don't understand. What's the question? He had Chava. Why would he get married to the daughter? So that's Tosafot that if that can he not get married to the daughter? Whatever it is, because let's say Chava would have died right after the Tzadat. So what's the problem? So therefore he would have, like let's say for example, Chava would have died. She ate from the Tzadat and not him. So therefore she would have died. Now, if she dies, can he get married now to his daughter? So says the Gemara, he says, no. In order that Cain should get married to the sister, the majority of people, by the way, they don't understand this. Olam chesed ibaneh means is that the world was built al chesed. Why was it built al chesed? Because he was able to get married to the sister. And that's why, by the way, it says that when a person lives with a sister, what is it considered? Chesed hu. Now, why is it chesed? So I once brought you down a Dvar Torah that I heard from one of my Rashei Shivot in Ner Yisrael. We're talking about many, many years ago. That he said that what is chesed? When you go out of your boundaries, when you go above and beyond something that you're obligated to do, that's called chesed. So here, there's a normal boundaries to go with the sister. So if a person comes and he lives with her, that's going above and beyond those boundaries, meaning that it's not supposed to pass those boundaries. So that's why it's called chesed, even though it's a death penalty, right? So again, there's going to be questions obviously on that. How did the Shvatim, Shimon and Dinah and all these other questions that people ask, right? But whatever. Okay. So says the Gemara, so answers the Gemara, meaning, right? Mishutar lekain laset et achoto So then it's going to be mutar lebenoach lasot ken according to Rabbi Akiva. Meaning, according to Shitat Rabbi Akiva, once it was permitted to Cain to get married to the sister, it's permitted to any benoach to get married to the sister, according to Rabbi Akiva. Until here we're clear? Amar Ravuna says, Kuti mutar bevito. Kuti is permitted to get married to his daughter. So we're talking about bnei Noach. V'im tomar. Now, if you're going to ask me, 1 second, that means it comes out that you're allowed to get married to the daughter. V'im tomar mipnei man lo nasa adam bebido. So why did, in order that Cain get married to his achoto? Mishum lo chas libnei. And some people say, Amar Ravuna, Kuti is a sur bevito. Teida shel lo nasa. Why? Because Adam did not get married to his daughter. Says the Gemara v'lo, but it's not true. Hata maynu tama k'dei sheisa Cain et achoto mishum te'olam chas libnei. So it comes out that it's mashma that a person's mutar bebito, right? Because again, we didn't learn the daughter anywhere to do with the goy. Remember, al ken yazov ish et aviv et imo vedavak b'ishto v'yu levasar echad, right? So therefore, from that pasuk, you learn all that ayot, and bito is not there. So it comes out that a ben noach is mutar bebito. Huh? We don't say that. Yeah, that's what you just said. Yeah. So Amar Rav Chasta comes and he says, Eved mutar be'imo mutar bebito. An Eved Kenani is mutar in the mother and mutar in the son. Yatzami klal kluti velichlal Yisrael ba. Why? He's not a kuti, but he's not a Israel. He's in no man's land. Meaning he's not a goy, but he's not a Jew. So he's in no man's land. The fact that he's in no man's land, that's why you have it. So Kiata Ravdimi, when Ravdimi came to Bavel, right? He said, Amar Bilazar Melchanina, Ben Noach shichet shivcha leavdo. Imagine right now you have a Ben Noach, and he designated a shivcha for a servant, uba alea, and then he had relations with her. So ne'erak alea, he's going to be killed. So says Gemara, me'emat, from when? When is he going to become killed? Rav Nachman says, "Midikaru laravita de planya." Once he says this is this guy's wife, he gets killed. Meaning the designation is already considered that it's his wife. So meima tarata. So when does it permit her? When he reveals her head in the shuk. It's much fun. These used to cover their hair. Yeah, even the goyim. Yeah. Wow. Rashi says that in the olden days, even the goyot would cover their hairs if they were a married woman. Yeah, and therefore that's why he says here the shivcha, when she comes with the hair not parua, therefore she's another halacha. Amar Rabbi Elazar, Amar Rabbi Hanina. Yeah. Ben Noach sheba lishto shelo kedarko. What happens if you have a Ben Noach that he has relations with his wife shelo kedarka? Chayav mita. Wow. If a Ben Noach has relations with his wife, not the normal way, the abnormal way, he should be chayav mita, because it says v'davak b'ishto velo shelo kedarka. V'davak, he has to clean. Clean is only front. Amar Rava says, mi'ika mide, is there such a thing? The Israelo mechayev, v'kuti mechayev. If a Jew does it, he's not going to be chayav, and a kuti does it, he's going to be chayav. How does it make sense? Ela Amar Rava, but rather Rava says, you're right. It's different. Ben Noach sheba le'eshet chavero shelo kedarka. It's only if a Ben Noach has relations with his friend's wife shelo kedarka, then he's going to be patur. Patur. He's not chayav. No. We changed that. Patur with eshet chavero. Eshet chavero. Meaning another guy's wife, but shelo kedarka. Patur. We wanted to say chayav, but what we said, we had a question that if a Jew does it, he's not chayav. So how could it be now that a goy does it? Exactly. Yes. Maitama b'ishto velo b'eshet chavero v'davak velo b'shelo kedarka. Because even for them, they're not allowed to have with eshet chavero. But the way to do eshet chavero is dafka al yedei v'davak. And therefore, if they're not doing v'davak, it comes out it's mutar. An incredible, again, it's learning from the pasuk how to learn it up. Okay? That's something completely different. No. Yeah? No, in certain things. It's not in everything. But that's what we're saying here. Yeah? There's Tosafot on this. So he comes and he says, he says, obviously here the Gemara actually says, according to the Tosafot, that it's mutar for Yisrael lavo al ishto shelo kedarka. Well, okay, look at the Mefashim, there's Tosafot, it's Gemara Yevamot, it's this, that, fine. So now he says, Amar Rabbi Chanina, says Rabbi Chanina, Oved kochavim So, by the way, it's interesting to actually see halacha l'maaseh, but this is something incredible. Yeah? Oved kochavim, sheika et Yisrael chayav mita. If you have a goy that comes and he hits a Yisrael, he's going to be chayav mita. Shneimar, vayifin kol v'chol v'yakenish, vayachet hamitzri. Which means if you have a goy that kills a Yisrael, he's going to be chayav mita. That's why he came. And he killed him. Why did Moshe Rabbeinu kill him? Right? He says there, Arag Moshe et hamitzri, that he only hit. That means he didn't kill. Hika. You have a goy that comes and hits a Jew, he's chayav mita. You have to kill him. Moshe Rabbeinu killed him. You have to kill him. If somebody hits, right, the mouth of Israel, it's kilu soter lo shechina. It's like as if he hit the law of the shechina. Shneimar, mokesh adam yalav kodesh. Magbiya avdo Shabbat siman. Amar el Shaki says this kish. Magbiya yado al chaverot bishelo yikau nikra rasha. If you pick up your hand to hit somebody, you're already a rasha. Shneimar v'yomel rasha. Lama taket recha. Doesn't say lama yikita et recha. Lama taket recha. Why are you going to hit your friend? Doesn't say why did you hit your friend. Why are you going to hit your friend? You picked up your hand to hit, you're rasha. Right? He says, Lama hikita lo ne'emar, lama takeh. Alf al pi she'adayin lo yikar. Zehiri amar echad nikra choteh. He's called a sinner. She'nemar ve'im lo, lakachti b'choska, uktiv v'iti chatat ha'ne'onim, gadol me'od. Rav Huna amar tikatzet yado, cut off his hand. She'nemar uzroa ramati, shaver. Rav Huna katz yada. He actually cut off a guy's hand that he used to hit people. Rabbi Elazar omer, en lo takara lekvura. You just have to bury him. שנאמר ואיש זרועו על הארץ. ואמר רבי אלעזר לא נמנה קרקע אלא לבעלי זרועות, שנאמר ואיש זרועו על הארץ. ואמר שכבאי דכתיב עובד עד מתי מצווה לחם, אם עושה אדם את עצמו כעבד לאדמה, which means that you're going to come and יסבע לחם. ואם לאו לא יסבע לחם, what does that mean? The pasuk is saying if he's going to come and he's going to do ma'amatzim, right? That he's going to try to bring good produce, no? I think that's what it's written here. So therefore יסבע לחם, but if not, he's not going to be יסבע לחם. Meaning that you become like the eved to the field. You have to plow it, give it to drink, prune it, this, that, and only if you become an eved to your field, so then you're going to be isbalechem, then you're going to have bread. If not, no. The azara is their death. By the way, you should know we're going to speak about this tonight. It's so mina shemaim. Because remember, this is tomorrow's daf, Tu Bishvat. And tonight in Tu Bishvat, I'm going to speak about this Gemara. Goy Shabbat. Listen to what you just said. If he keeps Shabbat, he's chayav mita. But it says in the pasuk, Yom v'layla lo tishbot lo yishbotu. V'amar azara shelaim zoy mitadan. Amar Ravina, so Ravina comes and he says, right, afilu sheni b'Shabbat. Even what happens if he does now sheni b'Shabbat? It's a Monday, and he does Shabbat, right? Yeah, I know that, but I'm saying, but if he's going to do Shabbat, kilu even on a Monday, he should be asur. So the Gemara says, "Lechsha 1 second." So you share Sheva Mitzvot Ben Enoch. One of the Sheva Mitzvot Ben Enoch is that you're not allowed to do Shabbat. So he says, Ki kachashiv Sheva al ta'aseh, kum ba'aseh lo kachashiv. He says, when we went and we said the mitzvah lo ta'aseh, that a person is going to be commanded, is only going to be on the commanded on the he's not allowed to steal, he's not proactive things, right? Kum ba'aseh lo kachashiv. But the mitzvah ta'aseh, which is a positive commandment, that they didn't say. So since here the yisur is lishpot b'melacha, so therefore he says lemaaseh it's a mitzvah ta'aseh, which is obligating you to do a melacha. That's why it was not brought down, right, with